This is the true story of how one forgotten dog at an auction became Casper, and how saving him ended up saving me too. It's about the moment you stop walking past what breaks your heart. About how one choice, one raised hand, can mean everything. It's messy. It's real. And it proves that being seen sometimes starts with just one person willing to say, "I'll take him." No one wanted Lot 27. They couldn't even look at him. But what happened next changed both our lives forever. I walked into that auction house just killing time. I wasn't looking for a dog, wasn't looking to save anything. But then I saw him, a German Shepherd so broken, so invisible, that people turned away the second they noticed him. They called him Lot 27. No name, no story, just a number waiting to disappear. I told myself someone else would step up. I told myself I wasn't ready. But when that auctioneer said last call, something in me snapped. My hand went up, and everything changed. If this story touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss stories like this. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever saved something that ended up saving you back? Share this with someone who needs to remember that one person can make all the difference. Because stories like Casper's deserve to be heard. I didn't plan to be there that day. I was just killing time, walking through a small auction hall that smelled like dust and old metal. People came for tools, trucks, things with resale value, not dogs. That's when I saw him. He was at the far end of the room, a German Shepherd, or what used to be one. Too thin, his ribs showing like someone had drawn lines under his skin. His fur was dull and patchy. He wasn't barking or pulling. He wasn't even sitting up straight. He just stood there, head low, eyes empty. They called him Lot 27. No name, no story, just a number. People glanced at him and looked away fast, like he made them uncomfortable. I felt that pull in my chest, the kind you try to ignore because you know it's going to cost you something. I told myself the same lie everyone else did. Someone else will take him. But no one did. The auctioneer's voice droned on about a rusted trailer hitch, and I kept looking back at that dog. He hadn't moved, hadn't even lifted his head. It was like he'd already decided the world wasn't worth looking at anymore. And that's the thing that got me. Not the ribs, not the matted fur. It was the emptiness. Now, like someone had taken everything that made him a dog and just scraped it out. When the bidding started, the room woke up. Numbers flew, hands went up, money moved. Then it was his turn. The auctioneer tried to sound upbeat, but even his voice dipped. Adult male German Shepherd. No papers, as is. Silence, no hands, no laughs, just nothing. The dog didn't move, didn't flinch. It was like he already knew how this went, like he had learned how to disappear in rooms full of people. That's when the name came to me. Ghost. Because that's what he was. Right there, but unseen. Greg was standing near the front, arms crossed. He worked with the auction house. I'd seen his type before, not cruel, just empty. He shrugged and said, "If no one wants him, we'll move him out back." I knew what out back meant. The auctioneer started packing up his papers. Someone coughed. A chair scraped against the floor, and Ghost just stood there, staring at nothing, like he'd stopped hoping a long time ago. My hand went up before I could think about it. Greg looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had. The auctioneer blinked, then nodded. Sold. Just like that, I owned a dog I didn't want and couldn't afford. A dog that didn't even know I'd just saved his life. I stayed quiet. That's the part I hate admitting. I thought about my small apartment, the bills, the time, the mess. I thought about how hard it would be. I thought about how thin he was and how long it would take before he trusted anyone again. I told myself I wasn't ready. I told myself I wasn't a hero. I told myself walking away didn't make me a bad man. but my feet wouldn't move. The auctioneer cleared his throat. "Last call." Ghost looked up. Not at me, not at anyone. Just up. Like he was waiting for the ceiling to fall. My hand went up before my head caught up. Greg walked over with this clipboard, filling out papers like it was any other Tuesday. He didn't ask why, didn't say congratulations, just handed me a leash that looked older than the dog and said, "He's yours." I stood there holding that leash, staring at Ghost. He still hadn't looked at me, hadn't wagged his tail or shown any sign he knew his life had just changed. I crouched down slow, trying not to spook him. "Hey, buddy," I whispered. Nothing, not even a flicker. And right then, I realized something that made my stomach drop. Saving him was the easy part. The hard part was going to be convincing him he was worth saving. "I'll take him." My voice sounded strange in that quiet room, like it didn't belong to me. Greg turned around, annoyed more than surprised. "You sure?" he said. "Dog's half gone already." I nodded. I didn't trust my mouth anymore. The hammer dropped, just like that. No applause, no smiles, just paperwork. As they unclipped the rope from the post, Ghost stumbled. I caught him without thinking. He felt lighter than he should have. Too light. That was the first time he leaned into me. Just a little, like he was testing gravity, like he wasn't sure I was real. Outside, Sarah Jenkins was waiting. She volunteered with the auction sometimes, helped when animals came through. She looked at Ghost and shook her head slow. "You picked the hardest one," she said. I said, "He picked me." She smiled like she'd heard that before. Then she got serious, not the kind of serious that makes your chest tight. "Listen," she said, quiet enough that only I could hear. "Dogs like this, they don't forget. Whatever happened to him, it's still in there. You're gonna need patience you don't think you have." I looked down at Ghost. He was staring at the ground again, shoulders hunched like he was bracing for something. "Yeah," I said. "I know." But I didn't know. Not really. Not yet. Ghost didn't lay down in the car. He sat stiff, pressed into the corner, shaking so hard the seat vibrated. Every stoplight made him flinch. I talked the whole way, about nothing, about the road, about the weather, about my name. "I'm Wesley," I said. "You don't have to answer." When we stopped at my place, he didn't want to get out. Not stubborn, scared, like the car was the only place left that hadn't hurt him yet. I waited. Didn't pull, didn't rush. Eventually, he followed. Inside, he stood in the doorway like he expected to be kicked back out. I filled a bowl with water. He stared at it for a long time before drinking, slow and careful, like it might disappear if he trusted it too much. I set down some food. Cheap kibble, the kind that rattles in the bag. He sniffed it once and backed away. Wouldn't touch it, not while I was watching. So I sat on the floor across the room and pretended to look at my phone. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him edge forward. One step, then another. He ate fast, like someone might take it away. Like he'd learned that lesson before. That night, he didn't sleep. Neither did I. He stayed in the corner by the door, eyes open, watching, waiting for whatever came next. The vet visit came fast. Sarah helped me set it up. Worms, infection, hunger that had been going on too long. "He's been surviving," the vet said, "not living." At home, I stopped calling him Ghost. It felt wrong. He wasn't invisible anymore. One morning, light hit his face just right. His coat looked a little brighter. His eyes, still tired, but there was something there now, something soft. "Casper," I said out loud. His ears moved. That was it. That was the moment. He ate better after that, slept deeper, followed me from room to room, not touching, but close enough to feel real. But the fear was still there. Loud noises sent him scrambling. If I moved too fast, he'd duck like I was going to hit him. Every time it happened, something in my chest broke a little more. I started moving slower, talking quieter. I'd sit on the floor so I wasn't towering over him. I'd leave treats near his corner and walk away so he could take them without feeling trapped. It was small stuff. Stupid stuff, maybe. But it mattered. One night I woke up and he wasn't in his corner. My heart jumped. I looked around, panicking, and then I saw him, lying next to the bed, not on it, just next to it, close enough to trust, far enough to run. A few weeks later, I ran into Greg again. He barely recognized me. "How's that dog?" he asked, like he was talking about an old chair. "He's good," I said. "Getting stronger." Greg nodded like it didn't matter either way. What he missed, what a lot of people miss, is that saving something doesn't always look big. Sometimes it's just one quiet choice when no one's watching. Casper still flinches at loud voices, still checks the room before he sleeps. But he eats like he believes tomorrow is coming. That's not nothing. I wanted to tell Greg that Casper wagged his tail last Tuesday. Just once. Barely a flicker. But it happened. I wanted to tell him that Casper let me touch his head without pulling away. That he doesn't shake as much anymore. But Greg wouldn't get it. He'd just see a skinny dog that cost me money and time. He wouldn't see the way Casper watches me now, like maybe the world isn't all bad. Like maybe people aren't all the same. I didn't say any of that. I just smiled and walked away. Because some things you can't explain to people who weren't there. Some things you just know in your bones. Like how one hand going up in a quiet room can change everything. Not just for the dog. For both of you. Sometimes I think about that room. About how close he came to being moved out back. About how easy it would have been to let that happen. Casper sleeps at my feet now. Heavy. Warm. Real. He looks at me like I'm the best thing that ever happened to him. The truth is, he saved me too. He taught me that being seen can start with one person. One hand raised. One voice saying, "I'll take him." No one bid on a starving German Shepherd that day. Except me. And now, when I look at him, really look at him, I don't see Lot 27 anymore. I don't see the dog everyone walked past. I see Casper, strong, trusting, alive. He still has bad days. Moments where the past creeps back in and his eyes go distant. But those moments are getting shorter. The good days are stacking up, one after another, building something solid. Last week, he played. Actually played. Picked up a stick and brought it back to me like he just remembered what joy felt like. I cried, right there in the park. Didn't even try to hide it. Because some things are worth crying over. Some things are worth every single second. If this story meant something to you, share it. Someone out there needs to hear it.